Well, good morning. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. Really glad you could join me today out here in the vegetable garden. You know, it's late July here in Pennsylvania, Zone 6. It's going to be a nice day today. It's going to be a humid day today, but you know, back in middle of May, right after our frost date, I direct sowed some white bush scallop squash. It's also known as Pattypan squash, and this is what they look like. And so they're really growing out in the garden now. I just got back from vacation, and there's a lot of them on the plant. And so today I thought we would go harvest some of that Pattypan squash. So thanks for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden. You know, behind every pack they always do give you some information here, and you know, this is an heirloom variety, which means you can save the seeds and use them for next year. But you know, here in the back of the pack it says an outstanding prolific summer squash that is easy to grow. And this is also the first time that I'll be planting this in the garden. I always like experimenting with different plants. You know, the one thing I've realized too is that, you know, the vine borer has not affected this plant, so that's really been a bonus. But it says the fruits are delicious when picked while young and immature. Eat fresh, fried, steamed, or baked, and freeze excess for various breads, cakes, casseroles, souffles, pancakes, and custard recipes. And again, something really easy to direct sow out in your garden, and let me encourage you to think about doing that. Well, anyhow, behind me I have it growing in one of my 4 foot by 8 foot raised garden beds. So follow me along. I also have my wife's Longaberger basket that I like to use when I harvest a lot of my vegetables out in the garden. It's a nice, hearty, strong, long-lasting basket. But anyhow, this Pattypan squash is right here. You can see that I also am growing some butternut squash and some cushaw squash for the first time, and that cushaw squash is just taken over the garden. But let's take a closer look at some of this beautiful Pattypan squash. And so right in here is where we have some of this Pattypan squash growing. It's definitely an interesting looking squash with its scallop design, and some people say it looks like a toy top or even like a spaceship. But again, it's a very prolific grower, something really easy to grow, and let me encourage you to think about growing this in your garden. So anyhow, let me grab my basket and we'll start harvesting some of these plants. And I also have these growing in my composted leaf mulch that's amended with topsoil, and you want to make sure they get a good 8 hours of sunlight. I have my pocket knife that I always keep with me, and so I'm just going to cut these vines here. This knife has a little saw on the edge, so it's really handy to have in my pouch here. But you can see how beautiful they are. We're looking forward to experimenting with different recipes on how to cook this. And so we got another one here. And I got one in the back that needs to be harvested. There's another one right there. You can see I have 4 beauties right there ready to be cooked. I also have another plant over here that I have some growing. And so let me get my knife out and we'll cut some more of these here. And you know, again, they're probably best anywhere from 2 to 4 inches. You know, the larger they get, I think the more seeds they have in them. But I'm looking forward to, again, learning how to cook these and prepare them in the garden. Let's see, one more back here. There's another one here. I think they taste similar to a zucchini. And so for now, I think that pretty much does it. I also have a striped zucchini squash that I thought I'd harvest while I'm back in here. But anyhow, you can see that, you know, just what 2 seeds can produce in your garden. You know how beautiful they are. So why don't we take these and we'll go wash them off with the hose real quick. So I'm over here at my garden, on the other side of my garden center. That's where I have my hose from the house. And let's just wash these off. I always like to get rid of most of the dirt off the vegetables before I bring them in the house. I'd say they're pretty clean, ready to be brought inside and cooked up. Well, anyhow, I just want to thank you for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden, harvesting these beautiful Pattypan scalloped squash. And if you have any questions or comments about this video, feel free to leave them in the section below. And you can also visit us at plantsmartliving.com. And there you can learn more about gardening and also how you can reclaim your health by adopting a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. Well, anyhow, I hope you have a wonderful day today. So until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.